What's going on, you guys? It's Adrian, aka The Judge, back here again with another video, and I'm here to give you guys my final thoughts on the Air Jordan 32. No, this is not the newest Jordan shoe that came out. This is the shoe from, I want to say, 2018, but nonetheless, let's get into it. So, the way that this shoe review is going to work, I'm going to go over the traction, then the midsole, the upper, and then I'm going to go over some stuff like lockdown support, size and fit, and my personal rating on the shoe. So with that being said, let's dive right in. So right off the bat, with the Air Jordan 32, we have a multi-directional translucent outsole. So what that means, multi-directional herringbone, most of the time it's going to give you the pretty good traction. So you're going to be able to do lateral cuts, defensive slides, and you're not going to have to sacrifice traction. The downside to having a translucent outsole like this is that if you play on a dusty floor, chances are your shoe is going to collect debris, and then that debris is going to get stuck in your traction and you're going to be slipping some. However, that is not the case with the Jordan 32. With this one, despite having a translucent outsole, I was able to play on some pretty dusty courts a little bit, and I still had adequate traction. And when I was playing on clean floors, I was having pretty good, if not great, traction. Like I said, once I noticed the debris was like getting clogged in the grooves and everything, I would go on ahead and I would wipe and make sure that they were clean. The reason why I personally believe this traction is better on this translucent sole is because, if you can look closely, the grooves in this traction are really deep. Deeper than a shoe that I've hooped in a long time, which was the Jordan 31, which I'll bring up here for a comparison here in a second. So the traction on the Air Jordan 32, from my point of view, it has really good traction. You're not going to be slipping at all. With that being said, let's go on ahead. Let's move into the midsole. So the Air Jordan 32 houses a full-length unlocked Zoom Air. It has a Zoom Air unit in the heel and the forefoot. And if I hold it here, you can kind of see the outline of that forefoot zoom, not so much in the heel though. Now, you will be able to see, because it is pretty responsive, if you can see closely, the actual outsole kind of curves a little bit. It kind of has a little rounded edge. Now, me personally, I like this zoom unit setup a little bit, but I like the Jordan 31 more, and I'll show you why. The reason why I like the Jordan 31 more than the 32, if you guys can see, the Zoom Air unit in the 31, which is in my left hand, this blue shoe, compared to the Jordan 32, has a very protruding Zoom Air unit. Now, I used to like it because it would give me a really good bounce-like sensation when I was on the floor, but now that I've, developed more as a player and stuff like that, I truly like this unit better, just because, one, it's not protruding as much, so you're not feeling it like crazy, but it's there, so when you get a rebound and you come down and you land, you still feel it. You feel it in every stride. It's not anything that that interferes or draws back from the shoe at all. Another thing that is implemented in this shoe, it was implemented in the 31 and the Mellow M12, the 29, etc., is this right here, flight speed. Practically all this is just a shading inside the midsole that practically kind of keeps you on the balls of your feet instead of on the heels. And one thing that I love, they started doing this connection of the traction right here since the Jordan 29. The one thing that I love about that the most is when you're striding, when you make a stride and you go like that, it makes it a flawless 1-2 transition, or if you're just on the ball of your foot, it makes it excellent. So now that we've briefly discussed the traction and the midsole, that's going to bring me to the upper. This upper, it's flyweave, and if you get a chance to hoop in the 32 and you get to feel the upper on it, it's actually really soft. My personal belief when I first bought the shoe too, I did not think that this flyweave was going to be good in terms of durability, in terms of lockdown and stuff like that. I was completely wrong. The whole flyweave, it's woven tighter around the toe box area. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a little shinier on the toe box area compared to the mid foot right here. And then in the back we just have like a synthetic leather with the classic Air Jordan 1 logo with the wings and the ball. I personally fell in love with this shoe's upper, primarily because once I laced them up fresh out the box, I'm not gonna lie, they felt a little tight, but that was because of the flyweave needing to be broken in. But once I got one hoop session in them, they were my favorite shoe. This is honestly my go-to shoe. The toe box area, it's gonna be durable. I still haven't frayed the shoe yet or torn part of the flyweave, so it's pretty durable right here in the toe box. Uh, Another thing with the laces, they go in between the flyweave. Honestly, I think that you don't even have to tie these up tight in order to be locked in, just because the flyweave conforms to your foot in such a good degree that you just have to lace them up like you would a normal basketball shoe, and you're good to go. So with that being said, now I'm going to talk about lockdown support. I personally believe, especially for a low cut shoe, the Jordan 32 has some of the best lockdown and support that I've ever personally experienced, just because I used to be in high school, I would wear ankle braces because I was kind of prone to, like, tweaking my ankles and stuff like that. With this shoe, my ankle's locked in. Your ankle will be locked in too. So honestly, all that means is once you're in, you're in. Your foot is not going to slide around on the footbed. Your foot is not going to, like, drift a little bit. It's not going to be, your sock isn't going to bunch up in, like, in the shoe. Sorry about that, in the shoe. It's not going to bunch up in there and be uncomfortable. And I think that's because, one, right here, the synthetic leather, it wraps all the way from the heel all the way to kind of the midfoot, and then it meets the flyweave right about here. And I love that. That's probably my favorite personal feature. My favorite feature of this shoe is just the lockdown support. Once again, like I said with the upper, the flyweave, it performs well, and once you're in this shoe, you're in this shoe. That doesn't mean, though, when you're taking it off, that it's very hard to take off. This is probably one of the easiest shoes I've ever had to take off, whether that be just because I'm running late to something and I gotta, like, drop these shoes and get ready and and fly over somewhere or something like that. Honestly, this shoe, great lockdown. I think this is probably the shoe's strongest feature other than the traction. So, size and fit, this shoe does run true to size. So, me personally, I wear a 10. I got a 10. It fits perfectly. So, the last thing that I want to do with this review is I want to recommend it to certain players. So the Air Jordan 32 Low, I would definitely recommend to my point guards, my shooting guards, and even my small forwards. The reason why I say the small forwards is because of the zoom air unit. Because, granted, small forwards are most commonly more heavy set, so they have a little bit more weight that they have to move on the court. And I think the zoom setup with the Jordan 32 and a small forward, I think it's just right. It's going to be a good way to work together. It'll work together with a small forward good. Point guard, I say this is a good point guard and shooting guard shoe, primarily because, one, the zoom air unit isn't as big, so it's actually going to give you more of a court feel, which is pretty cool, and the lockdown. That's one thing that I love about this shoe the most. For a low, it's lightweight, but you're not sacrificing the support of your ankle or your foot or anything like that. That's why I'd recommend it to my point guards and shooting guards who are constantly cutting, constantly jumping, and possibly even landing on other players' feet. So, for sure, this shoe is where it's at. So, my personal rating on the shoe, for this channel, this is the first shoe review, so it's going to be either garbage, so pretty self-explanatory, shoe does not meet any good, criteria, so it'll be garbage, or step in the middle would be adequate, which would mean, it'll perform good and do what it needs to do for a good season or two. And then superior is going to be my top level ranking, just because it exceeds my personal expectations of the shoe as well as the criteria. So the Air Jordan 32 coming in at a price of around $160. That price did change now that the Air Jordan 33 came out. So for those of you players that are looking for a good shoe but don't have that money to buy like the newest Jordan shoe or something like that, definitely get these. I got these off Eastbay for $125. They usually have like a good $20 discount or 20% off discount for purchases over $100 or more, as well as free shipping. So that's an easy $15 to ship, as well as if you manage to get that coupon for like a discount, another $15 to $20 off of the shoe. So The Air Jordan 32 coming in at a retail price of $160, now marked down to around $125, is superior. The reason why is because what caught me the most was this traction. For having a translucent outsole and a multi-directional herringbone pattern and not slipping at all, that's like my favorite thing in the world, because I love translucent outsoles, and that was one of the drawbacks with the Jordan 31. Let me get that again. Is the traction on both of these shoes. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the Jordan 31, the blue shoe in my left hand, has a very diamond or grid-like pattern. It's still herringbone, but it didn't perform that well. I would constantly have to be wiping, constantly be having to clean the soles of my shoes and everything like that. But the Jordan 32, I haven't had to do any of that. I've had to wipe once that I can remember, and even then I'm more than sure I was kind of bashing the shoe and thinking it wasn't going to perform well. So for sure, you guys want to get a good quality basketball shoe for this upcoming basketball season, definitely keep the Air Jordan 32 low in mind, just because of one, the price, since it's on sale, because it's not the newest model but it's the second newest, and you're getting a really good quality shoe that gives you great support and great traction. So that's about it. That's the Jordan 32 in a nutshell. So see you guys later. Peace.